Hi class, this is Mr. Fordham again. This lesson today will encompass the next two class sessions. We're talking about the comparison of the similarities and differences between time signatures from music and fractions from math. As you will recall in your math classes, that a whole is the same thing as a circle. And I've broken this circle down into 4 parts. Therefore, each part equals 1/4. It represents 1/4 parts of a whole. Now, in music, we have a symbol of measurement called the measure. I'll draw a measure. Remember, a measure, the staff is 5 lines. And we draw the end lines, make it a measure. We put a clef sign there. And we put our key signature, or time signature rather, here. In this instance, I'm going to use 4/4. That means 4 beats per measure. And the bottom note, in math would be called the denominator, is the note value that gets the beat. Now, how do we figure out the note value that gets the beat in music? Well, I have a really good way of doing that. Let me write this for you on the board. When deciding which note value gets the beat, imagine the number 1 over the bottom number. For example, three, 4, 4, 4, 3, 2, 6, 8, 12, 8, respectively. That means in 3/4 time, there's 3 beats a measure and the quarter note gets the beat. In 4/4 time, it's 4 beats a measure, the quarter note gets the beat. 3/2, 3 beats a measure, the half note gets the beat. 6 beats, 8 note gets the beat. 12 beats per measure, 8 note gets the beat. Now, how do I come up with the name of the note value? Let me tell you how. If you put your eyes here, this circle represents a whole. Just like in math, a circle represents a whole. In music, that's called a whole note. If we're in the time signature of 4/4, that means that it's 4 beats that whole measure. So that means that only that note would be written. It would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da, off. Da, off. Now, when we subdivide the notes, you always break them in half. So therefore, there are 2 half notes per whole note. There are 2 quarter notes per half note, which makes that 4. And then there are 8 or 2 eighth notes per quarter note, which makes it 8 for the entire measure. All these notes are in one measure. So if I sang all of them, it would sound like this. And let me write them out for you. I'll do 2 half notes here. I'll do 4 quarter notes here. And I'll do eighth notes here. It would sound like this. going down. 1, 2, ready, and da, 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 da. Always counting 4 in your head. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, as we recall in our music class. Now, let's compare this to fractions. Since this represents a whole note, 1 over 1 represents a fraction that represents the whole note. So 1 over 1 equals a whole. 1 divided by 1 is a whole. Okay? In money, let's write decimals also. That would be 1 over 1 is a whole. That's $1. Okay? Now, how could we represent a half in fractions or decimals? Well, simple. The half note is already written as a fraction. So just divide 1 by 2. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. Of course, you can put a 0 behind it. It's still 0.5%. Or 0.5 rather, which is 50%. The DP rule. 1, 2. DP rule, remember, D is to the left of P in the alphabet. Therefore, if the decimal's on the left-hand side, I remember to go over 2 spaces to the P, which gives me the percentage. If it's there, behind the 0, I go over to the D to the left, and it gives me the decimal reading. So here, 1/4, what we're going to do? We're going to divide 1 by 4. 1 by 4 is 0.25, or 25%. And then 1/8 is 0.125, or 12.5%. So what we're going to be doing this week, particularly the next 2 days, is comparing the similarities and differences between time signatures in music and fractions within mathematics. They look alike, but they're not necessarily the same. For example, time signatures don't use a division bar, but fractions do. So we will be looking at that for the next couple of days. Please review this video and have a good dinner.